Happy Sunday morning. So, the owner, what I have in the garage, the tiny garage today, is a John Deere. Uh, Technically, it's a Briggs and Stratton, and it is a 3318770113 model, 21 horsepower Briggs and Stratton. All right. So it was still running. I mean, it still runs. And the gentleman who owns this said that it was burning oil. So there's usually a few causes there. Uh, I already before I even took it back to my little garage here, I already knew that it had been monkeyed with because I could see the Permatex or whatever brand gasket maker was overflowing from the uh, valve cover here, and OEM from the manufacturer. Briggs uses a gasket in here, which honestly, the reason that they use the gasket and not the Permatex or whatever gasket maker is because these do require maintenance. And I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of sealing these up, but I end up using red Loctite often in these. It's more important to make sure that you use a good set of feeler gauges to make sure that your clearances are correct. You can see, the oil actually is pretty dirty in this unit as well. I'm gonna have to see if the customer or the owner wants me to actually change the oil. And uh, something else that I had noted to him was that those quick change O-rings, they go bad too and they weep over time. But he was saying that he was burning about a quarter or quarter. Yeah, he was burning oil, and he would start the motor. He said, and he would run it through the yard, and he would have the fill mark up past the a little bit past the fill mark, and that also creates a whole other problem as well, because then you start wearing other stuff down by overfilling it. And one thing that I have to say that I definitely am not a fan of these larger displacement Briggs and Strattons. Once you start getting over 18 horsepower, in my opinion, even at 18 horsepower, you should start doing a twin cylinder. The horizontal twins were pretty neat machines, and they run forever. And Briggs and Stratton did a really good job with those horizontal engines, in my opinion. These 19 horsepower and larger units, single cylinder. This is 21 horsepower. If I didn't already say that, they break down real quick. This only has about 150 plus hours on it, somewhere in there, 156, 154. I got a zero turn that had a very similar issue that was a 19 and a half horsepower Briggs and Stratton on it. And in that one, the push rod had bent, and I had quoted the customer, and the customer didn't, want to do that. And then eventually he just said, you take it, you can have it, which was great. What I did notice was that, as I pulled the intake off of this to start doing the head gasket in it, because I figured while we have it apart, we'll do the head gasket. Oil was dripping out of the intake here, and that's a clear indication that the valve guides. Do you like my finger there? The valve guides, the clearances aren't correct on these. So we'll take this apart and clean it up, and hopefully we can stop the burning of the engine oil. And one thing I want to stress to people, look at how that blur. That is not the proper spark plug for this machine. These spark plugs do have their place in the small power equipment world and maybe other equipment, but they do not have their place in a small Briggs and Stratton engine here, in my opinion, unless it's in a pressure washer, maybe where you might need to have a hotter plug because you're in a honestly, I'm just making stuff up at that point. I've read that, so yeah, you don't want to use these like dual electrode type of spark plugs. You can see this one definitely has, come on, has some problems with it. And this doesn't help anybody, including the piece of equipment. So that's my 2-cent story here on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning I should say, in a tiny garage.